Welcome to Sacred Stories, Everyday Lives. I am Adeline St. Clair. This is a space where we approach Scripture slowly, where we listen not only to what is spoken, but to what is carried quietly beneath the surface, where stories are not measured by how loudly they announce themselves, but by how deeply they linger. Today I will be doing a reflection about a kind of faith we rarely speak of. Not the faith that preaches, not the faith that explains itself clearly, but the faith that is noticed only because someone else tells the story. This is the faith of the unquoted. There are people in the Bible whose names we know very well, whose stories are central to everything that unfolds, yet we never hear their actual voices. We are never told what they prayed. We never read their personal reflections. We never hear them explain what they endured, or how they understood God's presence in their lives. And yet, their lives were significant enough to be remembered. Let me introduce you to a few of them. The first is Enoch. He appears only briefly in Scripture. There are no recorded speeches, no conversations, no personal testimony about his relationship with God. We are simply told this: Enoch walked faithfully with God. Then he was no more, because God took him away. That's it. No explanation of how that walk began. No description of what it looked like day to day. Just the quiet recognition that his life moved in step with God so completely that it could not be ignored. Enoch's story reminds us that faith does not always announce itself. Sometimes it is entwined with ordinary obedience, into consistency, into the unseen choices that shape a life over time. Another unquoted life is Joseph. Joseph's story spans chapters. He was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, thrown into prison, then suddenly elevated to second in command of Egypt. It is dramatic, detailed, full of twists and turns. Yet Joseph himself is remarkably silent. We see what happens to him, but we are never given his internal thoughts. We do not hear his prayers during those years in prison. We do not read his questions while he is waiting. We do not hear him defend himself when he is falsely accused. Joseph's faith is known not because he explains it, but because he keeps showing up. He manages Potiphar's household faithfully, even as a slave. He interprets dreams with care, even in prison. He governs Egypt with wisdom and restraint, even after everything he has been through. His life is told through outcomes, not declarations. And then there's Lazarus. His death and resurrection become a turning point in Jesus' ministry. Lazarus is yet another that never speaks. Not once. We do not hear what it felt like to be sick. We do not hear what happened during those 4 days in the tomb. We do not hear how being raised from the dead changed his understanding of life. His silence is striking. Lazarus' story is told entirely by others. By his sisters Mary and Martha, by the crowds who witnessed the miracle, by Jesus himself. His life becomes testimony without his own narration. And this pattern is important for us today. Many of us live our lives quietly, We do not have platforms. We do not have eloquent language for everything we carry. We may not feel equipped to articulate our faith, our grief, or our endurance in polished, quotable ways. Some seasons of life leave us without words. Grief can do that. Trauma can do that. Exhaustion can do that. Long seasons of waiting can do that. There are moments when survival takes precedence over explanation, when just showing up is the most faithful thing we can do. Scripture makes room for this. It reminds us that God does not only work through people who speak well or who are remembered for their powerful words. God also works through lives that are steady, faithful, and present. Lives whose meaning is carried forward by others who noticed. This shifts how we understand our own purpose. You may not be the narrator of your own story. You may never get to fully explain why you endured what you did. You may never see how your quiet faithfulness shaped someone else's life. And still, your life can bear witness. The faith of the unquoted teaches us that meaning is not measured by visibility. It is shaped through choices made when no one is watching. Through faithfulness that does not demand recognition or applause. In today's world, we are constantly encouraged to speak up, share everything, explain ourselves endlessly. Silence can feel like irrelevance. Like if we are not posting, performing, or proclaiming, we are somehow not making a difference. You are told to maintain your visibility, post 15 times a day, make yourself mad with an insane schedule because it is important for the algorithm. You need to get more followers, get higher numbers, etc., etc., etc. But Scripture suggests something different. Sometimes silence, as in taking a break, is simply the space where a life speaks for itself. If you are in a season where you feel unheard, if your faith feels lived more than spoken, if your obedience feels ordinary and unnoticed, if you are wondering whether any of this quiet faithfulness even matters, this story is for you. Not because it promises you will be acknowledged or recognized, but because it affirms that God's work in your life does not depend on you being able to narrate it perfectly. Some of the most enduring stories in Scripture were preserved simply because someone else noticed. Someone else remembered. Someone else bore witness to a life lived faithfully. Perhaps one day, the quiet faith you are carrying right now, the faith that feels small, the obedience that feels invisible, the presence that feels unremarkable, will be remembered in ways you never anticipated. Your life is not measured solely by your words. It is measured by your faithfulness. And let me tell you, God sees every moment of it. Thank you for spending this time with me today. May these sacred stories continue to meet you in the ordinary, unquoted, beautiful moments of your life. You are loved, even in the delay. If this story touched your heart, bless us with a like. Do not be afraid to share this video with others or to share your own experience with us in the comments. Your testimony may help someone else. Subscribe if you would like to hear more stories. New episodes will be shared every Sunday at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 p.m. Greenwich Standard Time. Stay safe, and may God bless you wherever you are watching from.